There are cars people like, there are cars people love, and then there is the Toyota Land Cruiser, a vehicle that people trust with their actual lives. Not figuratively, not as a marketing line, literally. The Toyota Land Cruiser is the vehicle of choice for the United Nations operating in active war zones. The Toyota Land Cruiser is what Red Cross and Médecins Sans Frontières load up and drive into disaster areas when roads have ceased to exist. The Toyota Land Cruiser is what journalists, aid workers, and military personnel rely on when failure is not an option, when breaking down means not coming home. No other car on Earth carries that weight. No other car on Earth has earned that level of trust. So how did the Toyota Land Cruiser get here? How does a vehicle built by a Japanese manufacturer become the single most relied upon machine on the planet, across every continent, every terrain, every culture, and every extreme condition the Earth can produce? Let's find out. It starts in the 1950s. The Toyota Land Cruiser was born out of necessity, not luxury, not aspiration, not market research. The original Toyota Land Cruiser was Toyota's answer to the American Jeep, developed after World War II, when Japan needed a tough, utilitarian vehicle capable of operating in the most demanding conditions imaginable. The Toyota Land Cruiser was never meant to be glamorous. The Toyota Land Cruiser was meant to work, to go anywhere, to keep going when everything else stopped. And from that very first generation, the Toyota Land Cruiser did exactly that. Toyota spent the following decades refining and evolving the Land Cruiser through real-world feedback from the harshest environments on the planet. Every generation of the Toyota Land Cruiser was tested not on smooth proving grounds, but on the actual roads and non-roads of Australia's outback, Africa's plains, South America's mountains, and the Middle East's deserts. The Toyota Land Cruiser wasn't engineered in a vacuum. The Toyota Land Cruiser was engineered by reality itself. And that foundation, that absolute, uncompromising commitment to going anywhere and surviving anything, became the DNA that every single Toyota Land Cruiser built since has carried forward. If this is your first time here, hit subscribe right now. We cover automotive legends like this every single week, and you absolutely do not want to miss what's coming. Now let's talk about reliability, because when people call the Toyota Land Cruiser the most trusted car on Earth, reliability is the bedrock of that trust. The Toyota Land Cruiser has a reputation for mechanical reliability that is simply without equal in the automotive world. Toyota Land Cruisers with over 500,000 kilometers on the original engine are not rare. Toyota Land Cruisers that have been running continuously for 30 years with nothing more than basic maintenance are not rare. In parts of Africa and the Middle East, the Toyota Land Cruiser isn't even considered old until it has crossed the 1 million kilometer mark. 1 million kilometers. In vehicles that spend their lives on terrain that would shred most cars within months. This isn't mythology. This isn't brand loyalty talking. This is documented, verified, undeniable mechanical reality. The Toyota Land Cruiser is built with a philosophy that prioritizes longevity over everything else. Toyota engineers the Land Cruiser to last, not to impress on a test drive, not to win a comparison review in a motoring magazine, but to still be running perfectly in 20 years in conditions that no other manufacturer would dare use as a testing standard. When humanitarian organizations operating in the most remote, most dangerous, most logistically brutal places on Earth choose a vehicle, they choose the Toyota Land Cruiser. Not because of advertising, not because of a fleet deal, because the Toyota Land Cruiser is the vehicle that comes back. But the Toyota Land Cruiser's trust isn't built on reliability alone. The Toyota Land Cruiser's off-road capability is in a class entirely its own. The Toyota Land Cruiser is one of the most capable production off-road vehicles ever built, full stop. The Toyota Land Cruiser's combination of a sophisticated four-wheel drive system, multi-terrain stability control, locking differentials, and an extraordinarily well-engineered suspension system allows the Land Cruiser to cover ground that would stop virtually any other production vehicle dead. Deep river crossings, vertical rock faces, loose sand dunes that swallow lesser SUVs whole, mud so thick and deep it becomes a trap. The Toyota Land Cruiser navigates all of it, not through electronic trickery alone, but through decades of fundamental engineering decisions that prioritize capability above everything else. And critically, the Toyota Land Cruiser systems are designed to be operated by drivers who are not professional off-road specialists. Aid workers are not rally drivers. UN convoy operators are not trained 4x4 instructors. The Toyota Land Cruiser is built to be trusted by ordinary people in extraordinary situations. And that accessibility, that confidence it gives the driver, is a huge part of why organizations and individuals around the world keep choosing the Toyota Land Cruiser over and over again. Then there is the global parts network, and this is something that almost never gets talked about, but it might be the single most important reason the Toyota Land Cruiser has become the world's most trusted vehicle. You can be in the middle of the Sahara Desert, in the heart of the Amazon, in a remote village in Central Asia that does not appear on most maps, and you will find Toyota Land Cruiser parts. Not because Toyota planned every supply route perfectly, but because the Toyota Land Cruiser has been so dominant in so many remote regions for so many decades that local mechanics know the Toyota Land Cruiser inside out. Local suppliers stock Toyota Land Cruiser components. Local workshops have Toyota Land Cruiser expertise built up over generations. A broken down vehicle is only a disaster if it cannot be fixed. The Toyota Land Cruiser can almost always be fixed, wherever it breaks down with whatever is available. That kind of global mechanical ecosystem is not built overnight. That is 70 years of presence, trust, and dominance in the markets that matter most. And let's not overlook what the modern Toyota Land Cruiser has become. Because the Toyota Land Cruiser today is not just a working vehicle. The Toyota Land Cruiser is a genuinely desirable, genuinely luxurious machine that somehow manages to retain every single drop of the toughness and reliability that made the Toyota Land Cruiser legendary in the first place. The modern Toyota Land Cruiser 300 series is spacious, refined, and loaded with technology. The Toyota Land Cruiser rides with a composure and comfort that rivals dedicated luxury SUVs costing significantly more. The Toyota Land Cruiser's interior is beautifully built, thoughtfully designed, and genuinely pleasant to spend time in. And underneath all of that refinement, the Toyota Land Cruiser remains exactly what it has always been, a vehicle that will take you anywhere on Earth and bring you back safely. That evolution, from pure working tool to accomplished luxury machine without losing the soul, is something almost no other vehicle in automotive history has managed. The Toyota Land Cruiser didn't compromise its capability to gain luxury. The Toyota Land Cruiser simply grew into everything at once. So why is the Toyota Land Cruiser the most trusted car on Earth? Because trust is not given, trust is earned. And the Toyota Land Cruiser has spent over 70 years earning it. One impossible road, one brutal desert crossing, one life or death mission at a time. The Toyota Land Cruiser has been there when it mattered most, in places most vehicles would never survive, carrying people who needed it to work perfectly and could not afford for it to fail. Every other car promises capability. The Toyota Land Cruiser has proved it on every continent in every extreme for over 7 decades without interruption. That is not reputation, that is a record. And no car on Earth has a record like the Toyota Land Cruiser. Subscribe and tell us in the comments, have you ever driven a Land Cruiser somewhere it had absolutely no right to survive?